He freed the deadliest woman. She offered him her blades and her body. The prison moon did not appear on any public star map. It was too dangerous to name and too secret to admit existed. It floated alone beyond normal trade routes, wrapped in layers of metal, weapons, and silence. Most beings who worked there believed the same thing, that nothing inside was alive in any way that mattered. Elias Cade did not believe that. He stood in a narrow corridor where the lights flickered as if even electricity felt tired. He was not a soldier. He did not carry a weapon. His uniform was plain, marked only with the symbols of logistics and systems review. He had been sent because the prison was scheduled for shutdown. The war that created it was over, and the moon was no longer needed. That word made Elias uncomfortable. He checked his tablet again. Most cells showed as empty or terminated. Then there was one file that refused to open. No name, no image, only a warning code so old that the system hesitated every time it tried to display it. At the end of the corridor, a single door waited. The guards did not follow him. They never did when someone approached that door. They said nothing, but their eyes always watched, tense and afraid, as if the hallway itself might explode. Elias stopped in front of the door and felt something he could not explain. Not fear exactly, more like pressure, as if the air carried memory. He placed his hand on the control panel. The system asked for confirmation 3 times. On the final confirmation, it asked a question no other door on the moon asked. "Do you accept full responsibility?" Elias swallowed and pressed yes. The door opened. Inside the cell, the light was dim and blue. The room was large but empty of comfort. No bed, no chair. No window, just a single figure standing in the center. She was taller than most humans, her posture straight despite the heavy restraints wrapped around her arms, legs, and spine. Thin metal bands were embedded into her body, glowing faintly as they suppressed something far more dangerous underneath. Her eyes opened slowly. They were calm. That terrified Elias more than anger would have. She looked at him without surprise, without hope, without hatred. "Just awareness. You are late," she spoke, her voice low and steady. "Or early, time has little meaning here." Elias realized she was not guessing, she knew. "I'm here to close the facility," he said. His voice sounded small in the room. "Your cell was still active." She studied his face as if reading something invisible. "They do not close active cells." "I know," Elias replied. "That's why I came myself." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The systems hummed quietly, holding back something that could tear the room apart if released. "Are you here to kill me?" she asked. "No. To move me? No. To study me?" "No." Her brow tightened slightly, the smallest expression Elias had seen from her. "Then you are either lying," she said, "or you are different." "I'm just human," Elias said. At that, she laughed. It was not loud, it was not cruel, it was empty, as if she had forgotten how laughter was supposed to sound. "Human," she repeated, "the only species that ever locked me away without using me first." Elias frowned. "You were dangerous." "I was useful," she corrected. That frightened them. He glanced at the restraints, the scars, the signs of endless control. "They said you were the deadliest woman in the galaxy." "They always do," she replied. "It makes cages easier to justify." Elias felt his chest tighten. He had read enough reports to know what she was, but none of them explained the person standing in front of him. None of them explained the quiet dignity in her voice. "What's your name?" he asked. She tilted her head. "You are the first to ask me that in a very long time." "I'd like to know it." Another pause, longer this time. "I do not remember," she said honestly. "They replaced it with numbers, then with silence." Elias nodded slowly. "Then we'll start there." He stepped closer to the control panel outside the cell. Every warning light turned red instantly. "Do not," she said, not urgently but firmly. "If you release those locks without preparation, I will not be able to stop myself." "I know," Elias said. "That's why I'm doing it carefully." "You trust me," she observed. "No," he answered. "I trust responsibility." He began disabling the systems one by one. Each lock released with a soft sound like something finally breathing. Her shoulders relaxed first, then her hands, then her legs. With every release, the room seemed to grow warmer, heavier, alive. When the final restraint powered down, Elias took a step back. She remained still. "You are free," he said quietly. She looked at her hands as if seeing them for the first time. Slowly, deliberately, she reached under her skin and pulled free 2 long blades hidden within her arms. They were dark, sharp, and ancient. She knelt. She placed the blades on the floor between them. Elias froze. "These are what I was made to be," she said. Death, control. Fear, she straightened and met his eyes. You freed me without asking for them, she continued. So I offer them freely. And your body? Elias asked carefully, unsure if he understood the meaning behind the words he had read in the file. She shook her head slightly. Not as you think. My body is my life, my presence, my protection. I choose where it stands. Footsteps echoed outside. Alarms began to scream. The guards were coming. She rose and moved in front of Elias, her body positioned between him and the door. I will not let them take you, she said calmly. Elias felt fear then, not of her, but of what he had just changed. Why? He asked. Because, she answered, you treated me as a person when the universe did not. The door shook as voices shouted orders. She did not raise her blades. She did not need to. And in that moment, Elias understood something that would follow him for the rest of his life. Humanity's greatest strength was not its weapons. It was the courage to choose restraint and live with the consequences. The alarms did not stop. They spread through the prison moon like a living thing, echoing through metal halls and sealed doors. Red lights flashed in every corridor, warning everyone that something impossible had happened. Elias stood behind her, his heart beating so hard he thought it might give him away. He could hear guards shouting orders, boots striking the floor, weapons being powered up. Every sound said the same thing. They were coming to take her back. She did not move. She stood calm and steady, her back straight, her head high. The blades she had placed on the floor remained there. She did not reach for them. Why aren't you running? Elias asked quietly. She answered without looking at him. I have run my entire life. It only led to smaller cages. The door finally slid open with force. Armed guards filled the doorway, weapons raised, eyes wide. Many of them froze when they saw her standing free, unchained, alive in a way none of the reports had ever described. Step away from the asset, one of them shouted at Elias. Now! Elias felt fear twist inside him, but he did not move. She is not an asset, he said, surprised at how steady his voice sounded. This facility is shut down. There is no authority here anymore. The guards hesitated. Orders crackled through their comms, confused and overlapping. None of them wanted to be the one to fire first. She took a single step forward, not toward the guards, toward the open space between them. You fear me, she said, her voice carrying easily through the room. That fear is learned, not earned. Several guards tightened their grip on their weapons. One almost fired. Elias stepped beside her. She's free, he said, and if you open fire, you will be attacking a civilian. That word hit harder than any weapon. Civilian. No one had ever used that word for her. Silence stretched. Then, slowly, one guard lowered his weapon, then another. Orders came through again, sharper this time. The guards were told to hold position and wait for off-world command. Minutes passed, then more. Finally, the prison moon's central display activated, projecting a large image into the air. Symbols of multiple species appeared, leaders from the alliance that once built this place. Their faces showed shock, anger, and something close to panic. You have released a weapon of mass destruction, one of them said. You have no understanding of what you have done. Elias looked up at the projection. I understand exactly what I did. She was created to end wars, another voice said. Entire fleets fell because of her. She finally spoke again. Not because of me, she said calmly, because you sent me. The leaders paused. Elias turned slightly toward her. What are you? She thought for a moment. I was a solution, she said. When fear failed, they used me. When peace came, they hid me. One leader leaned forward. You cannot keep her. Humanity has no claim. Elias shook his head. We're not claiming her. He looked at her. What do you want? The room seemed to hold its breath. I want to choose, she said, for the first time. A fleet warning suddenly flashed across the display. Ships were arriving, not one species, but many, all of them armed. All of them afraid that she might be used again. The prison moon trembled slightly as the first ships took position. Elias felt the weight of the moment press down on him. They're going to demand you back. I know, she replied. They might attack. They will not, she said. He looked at her. How can you be sure? She finally turned to face him fully. Because I am not stepping forward. The leaders began issuing demands. Threats followed, timetables, ultimatums. Humanity's signal cut through them all. There was no shouting, no threat. Only a single message, broadcast on every frequency. She is free. We will not command her. We will not surrender her. Stand down. The alliance reacted with disbelief. You would risk war for her, one leader demanded. Elias answered before anyone else could. We risk war every time we decide someone is a thing instead of a person. Silence followed. The fleets waited. She stepped forward then, slowly, into the open center of the room where every camera could see her. "I will not fight you," she said. "I will not run. I will not serve." Her eyes were steady. "If you attack, you will learn that restraint is not weakness. It is a choice, and I am choosing peace." The waiting stretched into hours. One by one, ships began to pull back, not because they trusted her, because they finally understood humanity. Elias was escorted off the moon days later. His rank was removed quietly. No trial, no punishment, just reassignment papers and silence. He did not care. She walked beside him onto the transport ship, unchained, unguarded. No one tried to stop her. As the ship jumped to faster than light, Elias sat across from her in the quiet cabin. "You don't have to stay," he said. "You owe me nothing." She considered that. "I know." "Then why?" he asked. "Because you did not free me to use me," she replied. "You freed me to let me go." She placed the blades on the table between them again. "I offer these," she said, "not as weapons, as trust." Elias did not touch them. "Keep them." She smiled then, not empty this time. Real. The galaxy would talk about that day for generations. About the prison that opened. About the woman who walked free. About the human who chose restraint and lived with the cost. But what frightened them most was not her power. It was the idea that humanity's monsters were free to choose. And that humanity was strong enough to let them. The transport ship moved quietly through open space, far from the prison moon and far from the watching fleets. The stars outside looked calm, but the galaxy was not. News had already spread. Stories changed with every retelling. Some said a human had stolen a weapon. Others said humanity had lost its mind. Very few understood the truth. Elias sat alone in the small observation room looking out at the stars. He was no longer an officer. His uniform had been replaced with simple clothes, no rank. No title, just a name and a long future full of unknowns. He did not regret his choice. Behind him, soft footsteps approached. He did not turn. He already knew who it was. She stopped beside him, standing close enough that he could feel her presence, steady and calm. She looked out at the stars with a quiet focus, as if trying to understand a universe she had never been allowed to see freely. "This is what freedom looks like," Elias said softly. "Mostly empty, sometimes beautiful." "It is larger than I imagined," she replied, "and quieter." They stood in silence for a while, not uncomfortable silence, the kind that did not demand words. The ship's navigation system announced their approach to a human-controlled station on the edge of known space. It was small, civilian, and unimportant by military standards. That was why it had been chosen. No one was supposed to care, but someone always cared. As the ship slowed, Elias felt a strange tension. He had expected relief, but instead he felt something closer to responsibility settling deeper into his chest. "They will ask questions," he said. "They always do," she replied. "And some will be afraid." She nodded. "Fear is familiar." The docking bay came into view. No soldiers waited, only station workers, a few officials, and a lot of distance. People stared. Whispers spread quickly. She did not hide. She walked beside Elias openly. A station representative approached, keeping a careful distance. "Mr. Cade," the man said, trying to sound calm, "you are expected." Elias smiled slightly. "That sounds worse than it is." The man glanced at her, then back at Elias. "And her? She chooses her own path," Elias said, "same as anyone else." The representative hesitated, then stepped aside. They were given simple quarters, nothing luxurious, nothing controlled, no hidden restraints. No locks stronger than normal doors. That night Elias could not sleep. He sat at the small table, reviewing messages that had already begun to arrive. Some were supportive, others were angry, a few were threats. Humanity was divided. She stood near the window, watching the distant glow of stars beyond the station's shield. "They will try to take me again," she said calmly. "Yes," Elias answered, "some will, and some will try to convince you to give me up." "Yes," she turned to him, "would you?" He did not answer right away, then he spoke honestly. "If you wanted to go, I would not stop you." That answer seemed to matter more than any promise. Days passed. The station grew used to her presence slowly. Children were the first to approach her without fear. They asked simple questions. What was her name? Where was she from? Did she like the stars? She did not know how to answer all of them, but she tried. Elias helped where he could. He found her books, music, records of cultures she had never been allowed to see. She listened carefully, absorbing everything. One evening, she spoke again of her past. "They built me to end conflict quickly," she said. "They believed speed was mercy." And was it? Elias asked. She shook her head. No, it only taught them to rely on fear. News came that an alliance council was meeting. Humanity had been formally questioned. Pressure increased. Trade threats followed. Political lines hardened. Elias was called to speak remotely. He stood before the projection, calm but tired. You are destabilizing the balance, one leader accused. Elias answered simply. No, we are changing it. You released something you do not control. That was the point, he replied. They asked where she was. He did not answer. When the meeting ended, Elias felt the weight of it pressed down on him. Humanity might not go to war, but consequences would come. That night, she placed the blades on the table again. They will keep coming, she said. I do not want your people to suffer because of me. You're not a burden, Elias said firmly. I was made to end threats, she said. I can become one again. Elias stood and met her gaze. You already chose not to. That was enough. Weeks passed. The pressure slowly eased, not because fear vanished, but because nothing happened. No attacks, no threats, no violence. She stayed peaceful. That frightened the galaxy more than destruction ever could. One day, Elias found her standing on the station's outer viewing deck, watching a human ship depart. Do you regret it? He asked. She thought carefully. I regret what I was made to be, she said, not what I am choosing to become. And what is that? Elias asked. She looked at him. Alive by choice. A message arrived from Earth. Quiet, unofficial. Humanity would not surrender her, but they would not make her a symbol either. She would be allowed to live, not as a weapon, not as a warning, as a person. Elias felt a weight lift that he had not realized he was carrying. That night, for the first time, she slept without watching the door, and for the first time, the galaxy had to face a new truth. Humanity's greatest power was not the strength to destroy. It was the courage to let even the most dangerous beings decide who they wanted to be, and live with the answer councils, and fear life returned to simple patterns. People went to work, ships arrived and left. Meals were shared. Arguments happened over small things, not the fate of the galaxy. She learned those routines carefully. She watched how humans greeted each other, how they disagreed without violence, how they forgave without being ordered to. These things confused her more than war ever had. War had rules, fear had purpose. Ordinary life was far more complex. Elias noticed the changes in her before she spoke of them, the way her shoulders relaxed, the way her eyes no longer tracked every movement as a threat. The way silence stopped feeling like danger. One morning she asked him a question that surprised him. What should I be called? Elias looked up from his work. You can choose any name. She considered that. Names are given to shape purpose, she said. I was given none so I could be shaped endlessly. Then choose one that belongs to you, Elias replied. After a long pause, she said, I will choose one later when I understand myself better. That answer felt right. Not everyone on the station was comfortable. Some avoided her, some watched from a distance. A few openly disliked her presence. Elias did not blame them. Fear did not vanish just because peace existed. One evening, a minor incident occurred. A cargo dispute escalated into shouting. Someone shoved someone else. Security arrived too late. She was there, she did nothing. She simply stood between them. The argument stopped. Not because she threatened them, because they suddenly felt embarrassed. Word spread quickly, not that she was dangerous, but that she was restrained, controlled. Gentle by choice, that scared some people even more. Beyond the station, the galaxy continued to shift. Smaller powers began asking quiet questions. If humanity could release something so feared and survive, what else had been assumed wrong? Elias received visitors from time to time. Diplomats, observers, curious minds. None of them asked to see her directly. They always asked about her instead. He always answered the same way. She is living. That answer frustrated them. One night, the station received an emergency signal. A small civilian ship had suffered damage near a debris field. Life support was failing. Rescue ships were hours away. Elias listened to the report, his jaw tight. Too far, too late. She was already moving. I can reach them, she said. Elias looked at her sharply. You don't have to. I want to, she replied. This is not a test, he warned. If you go out there, they will see what you can do. She met his eyes. They already know what I can destroy. Let them see what I can save. The station commander hesitated but agreed. There was no better option. She took a small shuttle alone. The rescue was quick, precise, controlled. She navigated debris with impossible accuracy, stabilizing the damaged ship without harming it. She guided the civilians back safely. No weapons, no violence, only skill. When she returned, people were waiting, not cheering, not hiding, watching. A child stepped forward first. "Thank you," the child said. She paused, then nodded. "You are welcome." Something changed after that, not trust, not fully. But curiosity replaced fear. Later, Elias found her sitting quietly, looking tired. "Are you okay?" he asked. "Yes," she said, "but I understand something now." "What?" "If I use what I am only for peace," she said, "then peace becomes a choice others must respond to." Elias smiled faintly. "That's a very human way of thinking," she tilted her head. "Perhaps that is what I am becoming." Messages from Earth became less tense. Humanity was adapting. Not everyone agreed, but fewer demanded control. Fewer spoke of chains. One final council request arrived, a private one. They asked Elias one last question. "What happens if she changes her mind?" Elias answered honestly. "Then we respect it, just like we would with any person." That answer ended the discussion. Months passed. She finally chose a name. She told Elias quietly, without ceremony. "It means unbound in an old human language," she said. He nodded. "It suits you." She smiled. A real one. The galaxy did not become peaceful overnight. Conflict still existed. Fear still existed. But something had shifted. A story was told now, not of a deadliest woman, but of a being who had been given every reason to destroy and chose not to. Elias watched a ship depart one evening, carrying her on a journey of her own choosing. Not an exile, not a mission, a life. She turned back once before boarding. "You did not save me," she said. "I know," Elias replied. "You gave me the chance to save myself." The ship vanished into the stars. Elias stood alone, feeling something close to hope settle into the quiet space she left behind. Humanity would be judged for this choice for generations. But for the first time, the galaxy feared humanity not for its weapons, but for its restraint. And that fear carried the seed of something better.